welcome to White Throat Tarot, where the reader is bubbly, but the readings can get dark. I needed to use my camera light, my filming light, but I don't like it like head on because I feel like I'm being interrogated. It's weird lighting. Anyway, don't worry about it. So I am working on the October 1st half readings for all the zodiac signs, and I am about to do who's next? Leo. All right. Leo gang. I have a soft spot for fire sign women. I love the feist. So, anyway, with all that being said, huge fan, Leo. Love you guys. All right. Uh, let's see what we got. Okay. Ooh, this one seemed like hesitant but insistent at the same time to show up. We've got the Seven of Swords. That's about sneaky behavior. Three of Swords. Oof. Okay. And the Father of Cups. I think I can already tell where this is going. Oh, crud. The Hermit. Yeah, I'd imagine so after a Three of Swords moment because of a Seven of Swords moment and a Ten of Wands. Holy crud. Oh, no. Okay. I see the Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, Father of Swords. Where are we at? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, two more. I have been working on trying to get my videos like short and sweet, but the way my cards read is not short and sweet. They like to tell the entire story. Daughter of Cups. Okay. Come on, guys. We got to get to the point. Get to the point. I was going to tell my deck, like, let's pretend we're making a PowerPoint, summarize. Anyway, the Fool and the Five of Wands. I try to stick to 10, but I'll take it. Okay. All right. All right. Seven of Swords, Three of Swords. I can go a little bit more that way. There we go. 10 of Wands. This feels like the reason for it. Father of Cups. Conflict with the Father of Cups. Father of Swords. This feels like a very curt communication. And then the Hermit. But then beyond that, we've got the Fool, the Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups. Am I still in shock? Yeah, I'm still in shock. Okay. Daughter of Cups. Okay. And I've started to incorporate my pendulum in my readings just to try something different because I've been doing this for myself and it is creepy. All right. Do we have a keyword for Leo? What do we got? P. E. R. S. O. N. Person. I usually don't do this, but could we clarify that with something else? You got anything else for us? No, no, we don't get anything more than person. So that's very not specific, but we'll go with it, I guess. Maybe it resonates with somebody. So if the word person resonates with you, I guess we'll take it. All right. Okay. And also I want to do an archetype card to kind of bridge us through this reading. The king. That's interesting because I actually pulled that earlier today when like before I started doing the zodiac readings, and I brought it up in the Aries reading because it said something like the different cards that I pulled. I didn't pull this in the Aries reading, but the different cards that I pulled kind of alluded to it. So, the king, the ruler, the commander, the emperor. If our lives are imagined as a kingdom containing the entire spectrum of human experience, the king presides over it all. Through the lens of the king, we assess the state of our land, make decisions, and rule accordingly. Therefore, the king must be thoroughly and regularly vetted so as to avoid corruption. Recognize the dual nature of the king. He is either seated in benevolence and strength, guiding you towards peace, or he is oppressing the weak out of a need to control. There is not much middle ground. Some think of the king as the ultimate expression of the ego, yet the great kings of mythology and history serve from an egoless place. They take their throne with grace and humility, knowing the divine uses them as a channel to heal deep and long-standing discrepancies in the kingdom. When light, benevolence, divine leadership, service, nobility. When dark, oppression, misuse of power, corruption. Go deeper. The Dalai Lama, Indra, Richard III, and Macbeth. Once the king's relationship to divinity is broken or challenged, he often acts from a place of fear, scrambling to uphold his image and power. The king is necessary. He is a bridge between the eternal and the day to day. It is also said that it is necessary for the king to die. This is a death of ego. Huh. That is an interesting one to have. Bridging out this. I see. I see. Okay. I was trying to figure out why that card would show up when this looks like a reading about heartbreak, if anything. Let's get through the cards. All right, so I see the Seven of Swords. That's about deception. That's about sneaky behavior. That's no zone. That's bad. Spray in the face, bad. Psst, bad kitty, bad. Then we have the Three of Swords. You got hurt because of someone else's bad decisions. Ten of Wands. It became your burden. Someone else's mistake or bad choice became your burden. Father of Cups to me, I know that this is the King of Cups in the traditional deck, and he doesn't come with any of these meanings in the book, but to me right now, he feels like someone that presented as someone that was in touch with their emotions, someone that is very charming, sincere, but that's not what they turned out to be. And the Five of Wands here is about conflict, and typically people would read this as, conflict with another person, but this feels more to me like inner conflict, as in you saw how they appeared, you believed them to be a certain way. This feels like disillusionment. This feels like not disappointment, just shock. An inner conflict because there's the part of you that wants to hold on to the good version of them that you saw, and then there's another part of you that sees what you see, and you're like, what? And you're almost fighting yourself, like. And another thing is, like, another thing that I'm getting is that this deception might not have even actually been like put out in the open. Like they might not even have admitted it, or but you're seeing signs and you suspect it, so that also might be the inner conflict of like, what should I believe? With the Father of Swords, though, it won't be too long before the truth comes out. That's what I feel with that one. The Hermit being here, when I touched the card, I heard Seeker of Truth. So I think that he ties into the Father of Swords because of that. So basically, what I'm getting here is that something will come to light one way or the other. This feels like a real trust your intuition moment. And I say that because in the description of the king, it said something about when the king loses his spirituality or something like that. And that feels like a loss of your intuition, or kind of like a fuzzing out of your intuition. It's almost like you're turning it off for the sake of preserving this person's image in your mind. I know that's a hard something that, I'm sorry that this is something that, I wouldn't want to hear, a message that I wouldn't want to receive, but that's what I'm getting, is that if you're fighting yourself and your own intuition for the sake of preserving the image of someone else, you already know that's not the way to go. And this could be romantic or platonic or work related or something, but it's almost like there's something that you kind of put up on a pedestal in your head, and maybe they kind of projected that image intentionally to mislead you. But yeah, this feels like you're fighting yourself over this. Now, though, with the Fool, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, Daughter of Cups, it feels like I'm smiling because they said taking the trash out to the curb. So, this is a very drastic jump from one energy to another. One energy is like, I don't want to believe this about them. I don't want to believe this. I don't want to accept it. Nope, I don't see anything. Covering the third eye, I don't see anything wrong here. Nope, there's nothing wrong with this picture. They're a great person. There's no way. And then it's almost like you just kind of go, you know what? Even the fact that I have to do this, even the fact that I have to like very obviously actively lie to myself to make myself believe that they are what I thought they were. Nah. It's like that's when your Leo kicks in and you're just like, nah, toss. Next. And when that happens, though, it looks like you do have some good new beginnings in your near future with the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups. That's a whole brand new begin. You're just like reset, reset. It's like you called customer service at spiritual.com, and then they were just like, have you tried turning it off and on again? And then you were like, oh yeah, I can do that. Off, on, and then you just start a whole new thing. That that was very, huh. Maybe the keyword was person, because this really is about a person. Because I'm just like, is this like a workplace? Like, what is this? Maybe it's about a person. Maybe that's all that was. Yeah. Anyway, that was very short and sweet. It seems like you're handling this swimmingly, or you will be. It's very cut and dry, actually. With all the conflict, the inner conflict and the turmoil that's going on over here, it's almost like somebody just flipped a switch and you were like, yep, fuck that. Bye. And I mean, good. I mean, I do believe in taking your time and processing things, but it seems like you're already doing a lot of the processing like on the front end, and then finally you just get to a point where you're just like, nope, I can't process this any further. There is no further processing to do. If I keep chewing this cud, it's just going to come out as pee. So it's like, yeah, okay, all right, you do what you got to do, man. All right, let's see what's going on from the alchemy deck. Sublimation? The despicable face. Okay, that's pretty fitting. I've pulled this card before, and that's pretty fitting. In the sense of this is probably what's going on with a lot of this inner conflict. Anyway, sublimation. Mm-mm-mm. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Okay. The eternal, the anchor, the rock. Nope, that's the stone. Where am I? Can I not? Wait. Huh? I swear I'm on the right page. I'm on the right page, right? Right? I'm on the wrong book. That's what's going on. I'm on the wrong freaking book. All right. Sublimation. Sublimatio is the great alchemical operation of air. It occurs when there is enough heat to change a solid substance into a gas, causing it to rise up, up, and away. Therefore, when sublimation, oh, okay, I've been saying it wrong. When sublimation is present, there is an aspect of celebrated elevation, of ascending above and gaining a greater perspective. Birds in flight, mountain peaks, ladders, and balloons are all sublimatio images. As with all the operations, sublimatio has a shadow potential. Through ascension, there is a risk of separating from others, of sensing oneself higher or above. This risk is particularly great in spiritual traditions that offer a linear model of achievement. The divine alchemist rises humbly and supports the upliftment of others, always in touch with the cycle of humanity. Service is the natural balancing agent for sublimatio. It may be the next rung on your ladder. Watch the final scene of The Red Balloon by Albert Lamorisse to ponder the magic of air travel. Disassociation is an example of sublimatio in shadow. When this card appears, reconnect with the feelings you rather avoid. Be with them rather than rising above them. Hike up a mountain or gaze out an airplane window. Notice sublimatio occurring within. You may feel wonder, awe, or a shift in perspective. Use this energy to write or draw. Sounds about right, and also kind of tracks with the message of the king. Basically, it's saying, yes, spiritual work comes with an increase and empowerment in power, in abilities, like intuition and whatnots, but it's not something that we want to turn on and off for convenience. You know what I mean? Like, it's also not something that we want to kind of turn into our entire identity. Is that what I'm trying to say? Basically, the point is not in your powers, the point is in the peace in your own heart. This path is not for the power hungry. This path is for healing. That's the best way that I can say it. Sorry, I've got like a Neptune Uranus complex on my Mercury, so I tend to have a very hazy way of saying things sometimes because I think in the abstract and I feel in the abstract. And then I've got a bunch of voices going off in my head. And then I also have the intuition stuff going on. So it's kind of hard for me to ball up my thoughts into words sometimes. But basically, yeah. So keep in mind that your intuition is for you. Yep. Okay. The despicable face, what is hidden, unaccepted, shamed. The despicable face is never seen. Rather, it is kept in hiding to save outward appearances. This card appears when something below the surface wants to be witnessed in order to be transformed. Everyone has their own version of the despicable face and their own reasons for assuming it is an abomination. It could be a buried resentment and insecurity or a physical characteristic that holds us back from expressing our true self. Remarkably, once revealed, it is not despicable at all. It is human. It is interesting. What once was thought of as an error becomes an asset on our journey of alchemical transformation. This card connects us to others and to humanity as a whole. Through acceptance, we lift the veil of perfection and reclaim our energy. Honesty and acceptance are the balm that heals the most tender of wounds. Go deeper. Watch the movie Edward Scissorhands, one of my favorite movies, and also my first crush, actually. To ponder acceptance as enlightenment. When this card appears, it is important to notice what company surrounds you. Those who can see and accept all sides of you are true alchemical allies. This card may indicate fear of failure. Some are so afraid to make a mess that they never cook up anything in the laboratory. Try. The mess is alchemy underway. Yeah, that's another thing that I feel the need to talk about. This path isn't meant to be pretty. This path isn't meant to be clean cut. It's not meant to be presentable. It's meant to be messy and ugly and raw and scary and basically when we bring to light what we are ashamed of, when we let the darkest part of us get some sunlight every once in a while, that's how we heal. You know, I mean, this might just be my Neptunian Uranian ass, but I don't personally believe in certain emotions or ways of being appropriate versus not. I don't really believe in, the notion that there are certain emotions that are appropriate and certain emotions that aren't. Um, I think that the key to connection is honesty in that. I believe that the most important ingredient in connection is that rawness, authenticity, integrity. And that takes courage because that's basically us putting the things that we'd like to hide out there. That's basically us taking all of the things about ourselves that we don't talk about on a first date out there. But when we free ourselves of that shame, that's how we begin to love ourselves. Humans aren't meant to be presentable. We are gross. We are gross and we are dark and we are. But isn't that nature? Isn't that how everything in the universe is? Everything is both light and dark, and everything is beautiful even in its barbarity. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I made it a word. Deal with it. Because I don't know if this is just me being sick, but I feel like there's something poetic about how gruesome moments can be out in meadows, out at the beach, like in the most beautiful scenery. There can also be the most gruesome, barbaric things happening, and that's all just a part of nature. Like, I think that both the serenity and the ruthlessness of Mother Nature are both beautiful. And so when I deal with people, I appreciate most the moments in which they show me the things that they shove farthest back in the closet because I see it already anyway. Being in this line of work, I get insights in many, many different ways. There's a lot of stuff that I know that I shouldn't because nobody told me until they told me. And when you see that much of people, you can't be judgmental or you would never love anyone. If your standard of love is perfection, you would never love anyone. And so, me personally, I've developed a thing where I've fallen in love with people's darkest spots too. The way obsession happens, the way self-loathing happens. I love it. And I don't want to sound like egotistical or whatever, but I feel like that is the way that we should love, in a way that lets the sun hit the dark in one another. And perhaps that's what you're doing. Perhaps that is what you're doing. Maybe you're learning to love yourself for your dark, and you're learning to love others with for their dark, and you're trying out a new mode of love and self-love, one that's a little more primal. I dig it. All right. Well, Leo, I got a little bit weird at the end there, but it is nighttime after all when I'm recording this. So, if anything weird that I said resonated with you, please feel free to like, share, comment to help me out with the algorithm, hit the subscribe button, and then hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I post a video. And I will see you in the next one.